warm day today. It's supposed to be 86 today. But take heart, tomorrow will be cooler. It's supposed to be 85 tomorrow. A woman came into the house. She ran into the house. She told her husband there's water in the carburetor. You don't know the difference between a carburetor and a generator, he huffed back. He put his paper down and he asked his wife, where's the car anyway? She said, it's on the bottom of the lake. I guess she didn't know about that. In our second reading this morning, the reading of James, he's not really talking about carburetors and generators, he's talking about faith and works. As the old song goes, you can't have one without the other. Because talking about Jesus without acting like Jesus is nonsense. It's a fake. Faith and works fit together like a hand in a glove. Jesus himself said, let your light shine so others may see your good works and praise God. He also said, like a tree, we shall be known by our fruits. In my excitement at our new house last spring when we moved into the country, I went around the yard and I blessed all the trees and I blessed all the bushes and I blessed all the rocks and the birds and the chickens and the bugs and the squirrels and the grass. And everything this summer grew so well. Maybe I blessed the grass a little bit too much. And we have this apple tree that's right outside our door, and it's about, 6 feet tall, and it's about this wide. And that thing produced bushels of apples, of which I have been eating profusely. Now, that's a good tree. I'm sure my neighbor thought I was nuts out there, walking around talking to trees and blessing them and doing the sign of the cross in the air. I guess that's better than wasting the earth's resources, polluting the air and the waters, and desecrating the land and throwing our junk all over the place, wiping out all of God's creatures. Now that is nuts. I wish to God there were more tree blessers around. So in our blessed Christian walk, are we producing fruit? James says, in other words, our actions will show what kind of Christian we are. Or as my buddy has said, if Christianity was illegal, would there be enough evidence against you to convict you? My other buddy, St. Francis, worded it this way. Preach the gospel wherever you go, and if necessary, use words. At the men's group yesterday, we talked a little bit about our concepts of God and growing mature, I didn't say older, mature. As we grow, how they've changed over the years, and it's certainly true for me. For many, God is still up in the sky with his hands on his hips, and he's glaring down at all the stupid little earthlings down there, ready to scorch them, if they mess up. And if we pray really hard, God will come down here occasionally and help us out of a jam, or maybe take away the heartburn because we ate too much at the new Indian restaurant in town, or find that great parking spot for us in Meyer on Saturday. That God sounds a lot like the Greek god Zeus, a very small god, beginning with a small G. But God is everywhere. God is in all the scary places that we go. God is in all the bad neighborhoods and the children's hospitals and the Alzheimer's units. And God is with us to help us through all the accidents and tragedies and losses and sicknesses and injustices of our lives, giving us strength and encouraging us and giving us enlightenment, making the best out of what life dishes out to us. Like my priest friend says, the God behind you can overcome the problem in front of you. God is that close. And people need to know this. God is big. So many picture God as the man upstairs, the white-bearded guy sitting on his throne in the sky. We often have pancakes at our house. One day, Christy was flipping the pancakes like a high-paid machine operator. We're catching them on our plates, And I paused at the table to look at my pancake. I'm holding it up in my face, looking at my pancake, and then I realized they're probably looking at me like they looked at Richard Dreyfuss when he was making mashed potatoes in the shape of a Devil's Tower in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The reason I was holding up my pancake is because I've been reading recently about our galaxy. Our galaxy, which we sang about in our song of praise. Our galaxy, the Milky Way. It's in the same shape as a pancake. Light travels 186,000 miles per second. That's fast. That's like, you turn it on, it's to China and back. Just like that. China and back 25 times. Now, a light year is how long light travels in a year at 186,000 miles per second for a year. I can't grasp that. Now, our Milky Way galaxy, to travel from one end of the pancake to the other, would take 100,000 light years. 100,000 light years. I mean, is that mind-boggling or what? And scientists estimate that in the entire universe, there are about 300 billion galaxies. Wow. The word cosmos means a harmony of parts. And God says, are you fascinated by what I made? You should see me. God is that big. And our James reading says that some people are so unenlightened that they can walk into church and they can wear their gold and they can have fine clothing and they can walk down the aisle thinking, I sure am big. To think that Jesus came to this little speck called Earth to show us this unfathomable God, this ever-pervasive, eternal being that made the universe and holds it all together, the cosmos, but yet loves us and listens to us and encourages us and actually cares about us. How humbling is that? And you know, people need to hear this. They need to hear about who God is. Because, I don't know about you, but it seems like every other day I hear somebody claiming to be a Christian on TV and saying something really stupid. People are searching for meaning. So many people are missing something in their life, and that is the biggest reason why people come to church. A lot of folks are hurting. The world is in despair. So many are suffering from what philosopher Soren Kierkegaard called the sickness unto death. People are looking for hope, for help, for wholeness. People need to hear how God can turn the world's nightmare into God's dream. Thank you, Bishop Michael. They aren't going to find it watching TV or surfing the net or checking Facebook. Hollywood's not going to tell them. They're only interested in your money. But they will hear it here. They'll hear it here in church. They'll hear it here at St. Mark's. Have you ever thought of yourself as an evangelist? Well, it's a little uncomfortable, isn't it? I can just feel the shockwaves going through your body right now. Very few of us warm up to the E word. The word evangelism, it seems to make us either feel guilty or it turns us off because there's no way we would ever do it. A study was done on evangelism in churches like ours. And the conclusion was that the vast majority of people would rather go get a root canal than be an evangelist. Which might explain why, for the last 40 years, most churches have been in decline. Right now, at this very minute, you may feel like putting your fingers in your ears and going la 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 because you don't want to hear anything else about the E word. Why do so many of us have this reaction to evangelism? Maybe it's a stereotype that comes to mind when we think of an evangelist, like on TV, wearing gaudy clothes, fake eyelashes and big hair, conning people out of their money, offending people by pressuring them about where they'll spend eternity. But what happens when you or I, we meet somebody who really needs to hear some encouraging words about God's love, what happens then? You see, that's what evangelism is. It's not that negative, awkward conversation, passing out tracts and, wrapped up in guilt and that old-fashioned, manipulative, messed up, unbiblical, and certainly ineffective way. Evangelism is simply sharing good news. Is knowing that God is love good news? Is that good news? Is finding your true self good news? Who am I? Is being part of a church where you make friends and where you feel like you belong and where you get support and encouragement on your journey and you have opportunities to help others and make the world a better place? Is that good news? Most of new growth in church is because somebody invited someone else by simply saying, my church means a lot to me and it's helped me. Maybe it'll help you. It's that easy. That's evangelism. We can help people realize that hope is real and that a group of people who love God and others really can change the world. Because the world is broken and it's not what God dreams it should be. Now, there's a story about this high school kid who comes from a poor neighborhood in a big city in the projects. A big city where the crime rate is high and drug use is high and in high school, everybody had to write a paper, an essay. And the title of the paper was, What I Want to Do When I Grow Up. And this kid, he wrote his paper. And he said he wanted to have a ranch someday with lots of rooms, out in the country, in a safe place, with horses, so he could teach kids and adults how to ride and love animals and commune with nature. And when the class got their graded essays back, the teacher gave him his, and he had a big red F on the paper. And underneath the F, the words, this essay is unrealistic. We spoke to the teacher after the class, and she said, if you want, I'll give you another chance, and you can write a more realistic paper. He thought about it overnight. The next day, he handed the same essay back to his teacher and said, you keep the F, and I'll keep my dream. I'm not going to stop dreaming about a new kind of faith for millions of us who need it. I'm not going to stop sharing God's love and the brilliance of Jesus in honest and compelling ways. I'm not going to stop dreaming of new ways to live my faith and find meaning and healing. Because people need to hear it, and we need to know how to share it. I'm starting a new class on Thursday night, September 17th. And the class is going to be about how to genuinely share the good news, your good news. We're calling it Faith Book. And my goal is to have most of you take this class, if not all of you, and to learn how to put into simple words your own spiritual journey. Because that's the only way we're going to grow. If we talk about what a great place this is and what a great God we have. So this is my challenge to you, because I look around, and I know it's a Labor Day weekend, but I see a lot of empty spaces here, a lot of empty seats in this sanctuary. This is my challenge. That seat right there, that's your brother-in-law, who nods and smiles when you mention church. That seat right there, that's a college roommate. That one over there is your co-worker. This one is your witty, funny, trendy, spunky, listening to everyone without a hint of judgment hairstylist. That one there is your golf buddy, and this one here is one of your friends. That seat there is your sister, who you talk to every day and laugh with and cry with and pray for. This one is your son, and that seat back there is your spouse. That is your boss, who has it all. The car, the house, the disdain for anything out of their control. And this seat here, this is your brother. A lot of empty seats in this sanctuary. Let's do something about it. And let's learn how to share our story, the good news. Amen.